Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick2 and today I'll be showing you guys an insane sniper build that does a ton of damage, allowing you to pretty much one-shot all of the elites in the game and even two-shotting some of the bosses. The damage on this build is pretty insane, as you can see, and luckily it actually doesn't utilize anything that is going to be nerfed in the upcoming patch, so this build will only actually be stronger once the update comes out as opposed to getting nerfed like a couple other builds would, as it's going to benefit greatly from the recalibration station change and the buff to high-end mods, and like I said, it's unaffected by any of the nerfs, so don't worry about this build getting nerfed or anything like that. It's still going to be just as amazing, if not way better, once the update goes live. Obviously, you can tell that I'm using a sniper, so I'm stacking a lot of headshot damage, right? But actually, believe it or not, this build is still going to be good if you use an MK20 or an SVD instead of a one-shot sniper, and you can still do a ridiculous amount of damage, only hitting body shots if you really wanted to set it up like that. I know that some people aren't too keen on headshot damage focused build, so if you wanted to use this build and not worry about it as much, you could set it up properly with one of those guns and still do great. This build is more of something to do for fun though, as I think it's extremely enjoyable to just run around one-shotting NPCs, but it's actually not all that bad if you're trying to dish out a ton of DPS as well. I mean, one-shotting stuff is insane in terms of damage potential. If you'd like to see more gameplay of this build, I'll leave some at the end of the video, but you can also check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nick2 using this build pretty frequently as well. Now before I get into the video, I'd like to mention that I'm doing a giveaway over on Twitter where at the end of the month, I'm going to be giving away a Logitech G305 mouse, a $50 Amazon gift card, and a gift card of your choosing, being either a Steam, PSN, or Xbox Live card. So in total, there's going to be 3 winners. In order to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is just like this video, comment down below what you want to win, then make sure to follow me on Twitter and retweet the tweet that I put in the description of this video that pertains to the giveaway. And don't worry, I'm not going to do a fake giveaway scam like some of these people on YouTube. So yeah, anyways, with that out of the way, let's get right into it, guys. Alright, so just like every other build, we're going to start off with the specialization. This one is pretty obvious considering I'm running a sniper. Of course, going to be running the sharpshooter specialist. Headshot damage, reload speed, stability and accuracy. Pretty standard stuff here. You don't get flat sniper damage from any of the specialist trees, which kind of sucks, but I mean, this is primarily a headshot damage based build, so obviously you're going to be taking sharpshooter for the headshot damage, and the Model 700's reload speed is very slow, so having the reload speed there is great as well. Moving on to the actual build itself, a few things I want to cover here. Contrary to my other builds that I've been uploading recently, brand sets are actually pretty important with this build, as if you don't have the right ones, you're going to be missing out on a lot of damage. The main gist of this build is, obviously I'm a glass cannon, I don't have very much health, I don't have very much armor, but I do a lot of damage per bullet. That's one of the main things I wanted to do with this build. I did make an unstoppable force version and it was pretty good, but the thing about that was that it wasn't consistent damage. I wanted consistent 100% of the time damage so that I could always be one-shotting regardless of having Unstoppable Force up or not. And Unstoppable Force is also going to be changed in the update, so I wanted to make something that is going to be pretty much the exact same, if not better, or actually will be better when the update actually goes live. So that's why I pretty much just went full glass cannon. The reason it's not as simple as, oh, just stack a lot of reds, because there are a lot of different pieces that you want to get in order to make sure that you're getting as many red attributes as humanly possible. It's kind of the goal. As you can see, I have 13, and that's a lot. You could get more if you have it set up 100% perfectly, but that's just what I got at the moment. So delving right into it, the main thing is to get 3-piece Araldi. This is going to make sure that you get extra headshot damage, but also, most importantly, 10% marksman rifle damage. That's huge. For the other brand set, what I would like to do is get 3-piece Providence, but I don't have the right Providence pieces, but I would like to do that. I'll talk about a bunch of different combinations when I actually go into every single individual piece here and how you want to, set up your attribute rolls, but let's just talk about the weapons first, and then I'll go into that. So I mainly wanted to make this for a sniper, but it was also great to test out how good I thought the MK20 was and the SVD. If you want to use an MK20 or an SVD and you want something more spammable, not just a one-shot sniper, you can definitely do that. I have gameplay using these. They're incredibly strong. If you want like an alternative to using a MK20, which would be a rifle or any other rifle really, if you want an alternative being a sniper, it's very strong if you set it up right. I'd pretty much recommend the same talents for all of these. I'd always go for Ranger. With this build, since I have so much red, I can't go Optimist. So I always go Ranger. I mean, that's super good. Playing at a really long range, you get huge extra damage bonuses there. Optimize is pretty huge on the MK20 and the SVD, because that's giving you both stability and accuracy. On the SVD, you might decide to go for stability rather than optimized, because on the SVD you have way less stability than you do accuracy innately, and it's vice versa for the MK20. So optimize is better for accuracy, stability is better for stability, obviously. And then for the Model 700, for the second talent, I have extra, because there's not very many bullets in here, so this gives me from 6 to 8, I believe. And if you could also go for jazz hands, because the reload speed on this is pretty abysmal, but I'd rather go for extra, to be honest. And then for the mods, for the optics, I have a 3.4 times with damage to elites, because I'm running a nemesis for the headshot damage, so I definitely need to make sure to get that scope there. You could run a different scope, like a digital scope for the extra headshot damage to get more damage per shot, but I one-shot pretty much everything without running that, and it's much more free, I guess. It feels way better. It's more fluent gameplay, not having to scope in. For the mag size here, I have 20% reload speed. You could easily go weapon damage or damage to elites. I really just hate having to spend an eternity reloading. As you can see, it's 5.4 seconds, even with a lot of extra reload speed here. I mean, that's a total of 50% from if you add in, you know, 20% here and then 30% from sharpshooter. Still a very long time, but I mean, if you want to reach a certain damage threshold, getting the extra weapon damage or the damage to elites would be pretty nice there. Then for the muzzle here, I run damage to elites. If you're running MK20 or SVD, you could instead decide to go for stability or accuracy if you think it's worth. In terms of mods on these guns, pretty much same stuff here, just same scope. And then for the mag, I just go for headshot damage, because that's pretty good, and then just accuracy, damage to elites, or accuracy if you wanted to do that. Same talents as well there. That's pretty much the only snipers that I would recommend using. The other ones are pretty bad. And the Model 700, you want to make sure you get a classic one or just a basic one. It's going to have way higher per bullet damage than any of the other snipers. The other snipers just pale in comparison in terms of overall damage. If you want to use a spammable one though, MK20 is probably my favorite, and then the SVD would be second. The SVD does have higher per bullet damage, and you can spam it a little bit more. The problem is that the mag size is really low. The SVD is pretty strong though if you do get it set up right. I'm not entirely sure which one. I think I like MK20 more, but the SVD's per bullet is really good, so I don't know. Up to you there. So moving on to individual roles, like I said, the most important thing here is just getting as much red attributes as humanly possible. Like I said, instead of having whatever branchlets I have here, I'd rather have Providence Mask, Providence Chest, and Providence Kneepads, because that is actually going to give you all the available red rolls that you'd want to be able to get, and that also is going to give you a total of extra 5%. Do I have a Providence? I don't, but 3 pieces of Providence is 5% extra weapon damage. So that's just extra damage, but it's not a huge deal that I don't have it. Like, as you can see, I'm doing more than enough damage. So in terms of the red attributes that you want, starting off with the mask, you of course want a huge damage to elites roll. I have a very good Wyvern mask here that I was able to use with 43% damage to elites and hard hitting here. The crit chance, I mean, I just can't roll it off. I guess it's, I mean, I don't want it there, but it's just there. It's not a big deal, you know. Instead, I'd probably rather have, I don't know, hazard protection or something, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. As long as you get hard hitting and high damage elites, that's great. Another alternative to this is if I had a Gila mask with super high damage elites, like this one, if this was 43%, I would probably actually run this one instead, because I don't really care about the crit damage I'm getting from Wyvern. I would run this instead because I could throw in a generic mod here and get myself a little bit extra headshot damage, and that would be great. And getting the extra armor wouldn't be too bad either from Gila, so that's something to keep in mind. If you have a mask that has like a mod slot or something else there that can help you out, that'd be great. For the chest piece here, I have an Overlord chest. Like I said, you could run something else. I just went Overlord just to have a little bit of armor, but you can run pretty much any other chest. Preferably, like I said though, Providence is going to give you what you need. You want to make sure to get a very high headshot and a very high weapon damage roll. The reason that I don't have super high rolls, like these are decent. You could get like well upwards of like 14% headshot and like 10% weapon damage, and that would be ideal. I don't really care about this crit chance at all because the crit damage I have is so low anyway. It's extra damage, but the reason that I'm running this chest piece versus something that has way higher weapon damage is because with this one, I'm able to get an offensive system mod here and a defensive system, which is huge. You want to make sure to get an offensive system mod as well as having these two rolls, because this is going to be giving you extra weapon damage, in total 6.5%, but when the update comes out, I think that's going to be even higher. I guess we'll have to wait and see how high that's going to be, but that's super strong. So any place that you can get an offensive system mod, you definitely want to do that because that's just a huge amount of extra weapon damage. And then for my defensive mod, you could have a generic marksman rifle that gives you like 6%. That would be huge. For me, I just have 2% damage to armor. It's not great, but like it's something, you know. 2% damage to armor is pretty decent. Like I said though, just try to get high headshot and high weapon. That's the main thing you want to do there. And then I have hard hitting. You could go hardened if you want. Like I said, I'm just trying to get as much damage as possible, so I go for hard hitting. And crit chance is kind of useless there, so whatever. My Araldi holster, I have crit chance because what the hell else am I going to run? In the update, you could probably go percentage armor here if you want. But having a little bit of crit isn't too bad. I mean, it is extra damage in the long run. It's just not a lot of damage. For the talent, you want to go for precise. You could go for devastating instead, but precise is going to net you more damage, especially because you're only going to be going for headshots mainly. For the mod slot, I just have a protocol mod here. It's not great. If you can't fit Araldi in, which you definitely do want to do this, but if for some reason you have a different setup where maybe you're running, I don't know, 2-piece Araldi and you can't get an Araldi holster, in the meantime, you could run an R&K holster. You might be wondering why hazard protection is shitty. The thing about an R&K holster is that you can get an offensive system mod slot. It's the only holster that can do this while also having a talent, which means that you could potentially get 6.5% weapon damage here instead of having the protocol mod slot. Or you could just, you know, go for a different holster that does have a protocol mod slot and just deal with it, not having the 10%. But this is a good way to compensate for the lack of having extra 10% marksman rifle, because it's the only holster, like I said, that can get an offensive system, and that's a big deal. So I would just have it set up pretty much just like this one, but ideally, you want the Araldi one for the extra marksman rifle damage, and just pretty much how I have it there. For the backpack, I went for Araldi. High weapon damage roll here. This could be higher, but is what it is. For the other talent, you can't really unlock anything. Maybe you could get efficient or something, but that's pretty shitty. So I would just get safeguard or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. As long as you have hard hitting, any passive talent, hard hitting, and you're hardened, you're chilling. Make sure that you get an offensive system mod here as well. 6.5% weapon damage. Main takeaway on the backpack is make sure it's Araldi. Make sure you get the weapon damage here and the weapon damage there, and then you're good. Instead of armor, you could go for crit chance or crit damage if you want to just, you know, take advantage of the fact that you already have some of that. But I just have armor because that's what I have. But yeah, as long as you got weapon damage, you're good. For the gloves, Araldi, this is very simple. Marksman rifle damage, precise talent. If you don't have this, in the meantime, you could go for Alps gloves and run an offensive protocol mod, kind of similar to the R&K situation there, because you can still get a high weapon damage roll here, a talent, and an offensive mod, which will help compensate for the lack of the 3-piece. Or you could do the same thing with Gila, and then run a utility mod, throw in a generic protocol for some headshot damage. For the Kneepads, I have Overlord. You would rather run Providence. Main thing here is get the red attribute. Doesn't really matter. I have crit chance for the 5th time just because I have crit chance. You could run armor, could run skill power, whatever the hell you want to do there, go for it. That's just what I have. I got hard hitting here, but main thing if you want to get extra damage is make sure to get the hard hitting talent, but also getting an offensive protocol mod. That's why I'm running these Overlord knee pads and not something like Gila. If you have system mod slots, like generic systems that are going to give you like 6% flat damage, you could run something like Gila, and that would be huge for you because you could still get hard hitting on Gila, but then you could run a generic mod slot here with 4% headshot, and then throw in a 6% weapon damage mod here, and that would end up netting you more damage than just running Overlord would with an offensive protocol mod. But if you don't have a generic mod, running any knee pads with offensive protocol is good. Wyvern has it, Providence has it, and Overlord has it, I do believe. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. Pretty strong. As you can see, I was able to one-shot most NPCs. Let's take a look at the overall damage here, though. I have 30% crit chance, which it's not too bad, right? It's not a terrible amount. I could even run crit chance mods on like an MK20 or something if I wanted to, but 214 headshot, that's pretty good. And then if I scope in with the Nemesis thing, that's another 25% just slapped onto there. So it'll be 239%, which is really good, but 50% reload speed. But here's the bread and butter: 23% all weapon damage bonus and 32% marksman rifle damage, with a total of 113% damage to elites and 2% armor damage. So yeah, build's pretty strong. I do think an Unstoppable Force version of this would be potentially stronger, maybe even an on the rope setup. The problem though is that that would be subject to change, and I kind of just wanted to make something that is very easy to make. Like I said, pretty much anybody should be able to set this up with what they have. It's pretty simple to reach the damage threshold to be able to just one-shot NPCs. So yeah, build's pretty strong there. Yeah, not much else to say. We'll be making tons of build videos when the update goes live, and I'll be sure to update you guys on a new sniper build, but for now, this is pretty strong. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe for videos similar to this one. I'll see you later, guys.